Hello, beautiful people. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. Try to connect with me on whatever platform you see my videos. Make sure you share with a friend. I would like to thank a couple of people, my children. I appreciate your support. Keep right on sharing my videos as much as you can. And I hope everyone learns something, one or two things from my videos that I post. I would like to thank people that know me or don't even know me, but you have inspired me in some way. Brad and Judy, Rick Ross, Tabitha Brown, Rihanna, Tyler Perry, Cardi B, Oprah Winfrey. And I want to start with story time. I've worked, like I said, I've worked all over healthcare, and I worked in a lot of different facilities. It's different forms of abuse, so be very cautious of where you send your family members, because there has been different scenarios of where I've worked somewhere and the nurse's staff tried to sleep with the resident. Yes, he was an able-bodied man. He was there for rehab, but she took advantage. That's a form of abuse. There was different staff members stealing food from the resident. The resident said, "Oh, you can have it," and the young lady went and took the lady food, her Thanksgiving food, and then the resident told the manager that so-and-so took her dinner. Abuse and neglect is in different ways. It can be from not changing a resident. It can be from not providing good quality care, not taking them to the bathroom when they ask, when they call out. It can be letting them lay down for 12 to 14 hours without turning them. But in the scenarios I'm going to talk to you about is a LPN, and I'm going to call her Gigi, and I'm going to call the male that she tried to have some type of relationship with, Rodney. Just making up names. Those are not the real people names. Well, the administrator, the director of nursing, and the assistant manager knew about this, and they let this go on for months and months and months. But you try to say med aides are unprofessional. Med aides and med techs and nurse assistants go to school for different things, and they all consider professionals. You're not a professional until you break a law. When you break a law, you're no longer considered a professional. That LPN, Gigi, broke the law. She sent that male resident inappropriate pictures. She allowed that male resident to sit outside the facility and wait under the carport for several hours, and she was a no-show. The next day or a couple days later, she came back to work, but her friend talked her out of coming to the facility to pick him up to be at a hotel visit. Her friend told her, "Do not do it because you will be on the camera and you can be reported to the board of nursing." The administrator tried to save her job, but they end up having to fire her. This is why I say you cannot have a lot of agency nurses in your building. State was in and out of that building for several months because of abuse allegations. So be careful where you send your family member. Be careful where you send your loved one. Check out the abuse allegations and dig down and see what's really going on. Because if you have inappropriate, supposed to be professional staff people, nursing, LPNs, trying to have intercourse with a resident, it's a problem. That person was not discharged. Yes, he might have been in his right mind, but that's a form of abuse. And it was covered up, and it was covered up for several months. If your director of nursing is going to hide it, and your administrator is going to hide it, and your nurse manager is going to hide it, who are you going to tell? The only one that got told on was them. Yes, they got told on because she sent inappropriate pictures to the administrator. He sent inappropriate pictures to the administrator. But they tried to cover it up. When he didn't get his dressing change, he had several outbursts. He was fussing all throughout the day and all throughout the night, threatening in staff, cussing out staff, because he wanted her to come in the room and show her parts. You do not run a facility like that. You have to dead that. As soon as that behavior becomes a bad behavior, you have to get rid of that person. You cannot sit there and try to hang on to an agency nurse because you're lacking nurses. Med aides and med techs can do the job just as well as regular nurses. Until you can get an LPN, you need to utilize what you can. Let them do a skill checkoff and verify their skills. But if they're working better and more professional than a nurse, maybe you don't need to have nurses in your facility. Your managers, your administrators, y'all really need to do your job and stop trying to cover up facilities' bad behavior because somebody has a degree or certification or diploma. Because everybody with a degree is not professional. If you're trying to sleep with a resident and you're sending inappropriate pictures, you are not professional. You do not need to be nowhere in healthcare. You do not need to be taking care No male, no female, nobody. No, the man had many outbursts. He had to be discharged because he was becoming too much for the staff. He was causing chaos. He was calling the state every 5 minutes. That's what got the administrator and the director of nursing fired. But also what got the administrator fired is because she took $1,500 from a resident. And she allowed her husband to take the money and she couldn't pay it back in time. That's why I say people with degrees don't mean like they have logical, critical thinking skills. They do too much covering up. They have poor skills of, okay, let me do this right. Let me do that. They can't figure things, the small things out to make things work. They think behind their degrees they got a lot of sense. But y'all need to practice. You need skills check off. You need skills just check off just like the nurses and the med aides. If you're not capable of doing your job, let it go. You need to be reported. You don't need to go to another facility if you're going to be allowed to cover up abuse and neglect. And then corporate is going to come in and HR is going to come in and ask, well, what's going on with her? What's going on with him? Because you're trying to have a paper trail of how to get rid of an administrator or a director without giving them pay. When he called the state, she should have been gone. Stop trying to cover up somebody because they have a license, because you're jeopardizing your residents. Playing cover up all the time is not going to work. Miss Gigi got up, waited with her for a long time. She was telling him he was nice looking. He needed to get a haircut weekly. She was telling him he needed to buy a shirt so they can go out. That was inappropriate behavior. You should never have no type of conversation with a resident. It's supposed to be strictly professional. Don't have inappropriate conversations with a resident. Just because you have a degree and you feel attracted to somebody, wait till that person is discharged. That would be better for your license and your life and your situation. Because if you talk inappropriate to them while they're at the facility, you're jeopardizing your license. And you, as healthcare workers, nurses, RN, LPN, Med-Aid, Med-Tech, CNAs, you should know that. Nobody should have to tell you. Nobody should have to tell your story, because it shouldn't be a story that need to be told. Go to work, do what you're supposed to do, and keep your mouth closed. If you can't be professional, just tell them, hey, I need to put in my 2 weeks notice. I need to put in my month notice. You don't have to tell them that you're attracted to somebody. Because if you don't tell the story, somebody will tell the story, and another person is going to tell the story, and they're going to put their own twist and turn on it. But luckily, your friends saw you going into a dead end, and she stopped you because she knew if you was going to be on that camera, your LPN license would have been gone. So I hope the next facility you go to, Gigi and Mr. Rodney, if you end up at another facility, stay on the low. Don't try to talk to the staff. Miss Gigi, you don't need to try to talk to any more residents, because there's plenty of free walking men out here that is not in a facility that will not jeopardize your livelihood of you taking care of your children. I should not even have to give you advice. I should not even have to be up here talking about what's abuse, what's neglect. Because we are in healthcare, we should know that. Cussing out a resident staff, you should know calling a resident a B is not a cool thing to do, because you're frustrated over your load. You're getting the same load. Okay, tell whoever's doing this schedule to switch it up, because you're tired of having the same people. You're tired of being on the rehab hall. You're tired of being on the long-term care hall. You're tired of the heavy load hall, the one with the heavier residents. Talk to somebody. Don't sit there and take the load every day because you feel like a hall is a good hall because you can take naps. Sometimes it's not worth the headache, but then you're going to beg for your job once you get caught cussing at a resident, and a resident reports you for calling him or her a B. You're out of line. You know you're out of line, and you need to work on your anger management. If you've been abused or something, you don't need to bring that to work, because those old people, those people in nursing home can't defend themselves. Some of them don't even have family that care enough to come visit them. Who else are they going to tell? They're going to tell the first person walking past the room, and that person got to repeat it to somebody else and call an administrator or call a director. It shouldn't be like that, because you shouldn't be opening your mouth calling no resident, no B, no a-hole, no whatever you think of. If you're tired, you burnt out, tell your charge nurse you need a break. Tell your scheduler you need to come off that hall. Tell the scheduler, hey, let's have a meeting. We need to rotate everybody. Why everybody got to stay on the same hall? Why are you going to take your resident and abuse him? Close the door, pull him up by the shirt and say, shut the F up. I'm not going to put up. Ain't nobody going to believe you. It happens all the time. Family, you need to wake up. If you love your loved ones, if you can keep them home, keep them home. If you can pay a CNA to take care of them, get a CNA to take care of them. It'll be a hell of a lot cheaper. But you putting them in a facility and think you're getting 24-hour care, you're really not getting 24-hour care. Trust me. I've worked in healthcare 20-something years. And you're not getting 24-hour care. Trust me. They're barely getting meals. They're barely getting good food. Most residents, when you go to a facility, they'll say they're eating jail food. Half of them don't even eat their tray because they don't like, because the facility either don't have the money to get the good meals, or they cutting corners where they can, or they buying from places that they're not even supposed to be buying from. They got bugs in the bed bugs, roaches, spiders, laying on people's bed, crawling on people's bed. They can't even move, but when you take it to the maintenance man, oh, it's not my problem. I don't deal with it. Okay, pass it on to the person to do, because housekeeping is part of maintenance. Maintenance is part of housekeeping. Y'all go to a meeting every day. Y'all should be able to tell the next person, hey, there was a spider in so-and-so room. There was a snake. There was a this. Why is a snake in a kitchen? Why is the kitchen locked down because a snake is in the kitchen? Why is a big old spider in somebody's bed that's a tube feeder that can't even move and it's on the person's face? Why is a cockroach coming out of a dead person's mouth? Okay, y'all need to do something. Because the type of care you're giving to these residents around the world is piss poor. And if state don't do anything about it, the family members better do something about it by not even admitting anybody. You better get on a lockdown and love up your loved ones and keep them at the house. Because that's what you're going to have to do. Because I can't tell you how many people I put in a body bag or did postmortem care, and bugs coming out their mouth, roaches crawling across their eyes, and the staff standing there like they don't even see it. It's pitiful. And you got to do better. Thank you for listening to my message. And I hope this gets out to as many people as possible. I'll try to share some more stories. So I encourage you, try to find the best. I know people, money is not the best and you don't have a lot. But the abuse and neglect and staff sleeping with residents or trying to sleep with residents, it is out here, and it's going to happen if you don't keep your eyes open and your ears open and you don't ask questions, because these people do not care. They in it for the money. They will have your family member laying in the bed, not turning them, and have the skin just off the body all the way down to the bone, past the stage 4. You're supposed to have wound vacs on them, and they refuse to get an order for a wound vac. You better check on your residents. You better check on your family members. Day or night time. I cannot emphasize how important it is. Thank you for listening to my message. Share the message. Subscribe. Hit the notification button, because it will be some more information being put out. Thank you for your time.